We've got the Rat Eater team coming in hot. This new fusion in the Bat Eater clan boss team. Let's see how he does. What up, team? It is MurderInc on the test server talking about, where is he? The Nutcracker villain, as I was so kindly reminded of, Gnishak Verminlord. What a name. So this is the guy. Looks okay, not the best champion I've ever seen from Plarium. Expect a little bit better for Fusion, especially around this time of the year. They're usually premium, but it is what it is. There were some pretty good comments to his appearance in the comments of the video where I first talked about him, but his kit's unique, and we're going to test that out, and I'm going to show you what he does in the new Rat Eater team. So the speeds are the same, right? It's your typical, let's go to recently used. It's your typical Rat Eater, right? Seeker, Double Man Eater, Painkeeper. All of the stats are, we have 125 speed, 1 whatever this is, 1 whatever this is. You guys know the speed, not going to go into it in detail. 154 here, and then 140, or 240, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying 222 across the board. Masteries are the same, but we're really focusing on this champion here because, as we speculated, it could be good. This is like the last savior of bomb champions, so let's kind of see how it goes. So we're going to hit into the clan boss. We're going to do some damage. As we can see, I did 1 key already, and we did 63.9 million damage. It's kind of a lot of damage for sure. So we're going to run this. If you want to know what the AI setup is, the AI setup for the Bat Eater team is pretty simple. I don't know if this matters. I just did this because I didn't want to take chances of a new champion not working properly, so it is what it is. You use the A2 on the slow man eater first. You do 2 to 1 to be safe here, and that's it. You hit save and you're done. He also has an attack core, which is going to help for bombs, so let's have a look at this and see how it works. I guess, yeah, we'll just leave it on 2 times speed here. So he's about to get his first turn. Places bombs. Okay, so we got unlucky here. He's going to place bombs, then he's going to place poisons afterwards. And outside of the kind of unlucky RNG there is A1 putting a bomb up, which is kind of good. He fills up the turn meter rather quickly. Okay, so now we have poison stacking up. Okay, we got 3 bombs now. Now we'll slow it down so we can see the damage of 3 bombs with an attack up buff. And this is, I've mentioned this already to the company. I'm not sure if it's a bug, but as we just saw, it was hitting for 50,000 as well as 71,000. Why there's a difference in the bomb damage, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe you guys will understand and know. It's too hard to see the damage numbers when he does it like that. So we're going to see 2 bombs on the next turn. I've tried taking a screenshot, but the numbers just blend in, making it impossible. And probably why they didn't pick up on it while testing. So it was hard to see, but one of the bombs did 100,000 damage. So that's already different from what we saw with the 70,000 damage. Like I said, why is there a difference? And why is 70 quite clearly not 200%, 200% being double of the initial value? So I don't really understand why there's different and fluctuating numbers on this. But as we can see quite clearly here, he's pumping. Now, one thing, and this isn't going to be necessarily a guide on the new rat. This is just how he works in the new Rat Eater. I mean, I say new. I shouldn't say new. The Rat Eater clan boss team, is it viable? Yes. If he's weak affinity, it is not viable. But if you hit Void, if you wake up early enough to hit Void, you're going to be doing pretty well there. So one thing that I think is a problem is the fact that he's doing so much poison damage, because the appeal to this champion is 100% the bombs, right? The bombs doing 200% damage on bosses is huge. So the fact that, I don't know, maybe I'm weird in saying this, and I have tested him out in dungeons, all of that good stuff, the new boss specifically, I've tested him out. Okay, he's about to detonate 4, so let me just put a pin in that thought right here. And we're going to look at the damage. So 71,000 and 118,000. My question is why? Is there anything in his kit indicating that the damage number should be different? If you look at him, he has attack up for all abilities, all bombs that he's using. So why there's a disparity? Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a bug, because there's no real reason why there should be different numbers on the bombs unless one doesn't have attack up and one does have attack up. But as we saw right there, he just placed bombs with attack up, and that's what happened before where we saw the difference. Plus the number variation is not quite right between having attack up and not having attack up, as it is being 70k to 118. That's a bit large for an attack up buff. So with that in mind, back to my original point, the fact that he's kind of sending in so many abilities that apply bombs and they're not able to fill because he's overcapping his buffs, like right here. I think if poisons were a 1-turn duration, would it be kind of broken? Yeah, for sure. But it would have suited this champion better. If they thought it was going to do too much damage being a 1-turn duration, then maybe give it a proc chance of how many poisons can spawn from this guy. But as right there we saw 118 twice, so that actually did work as intended, which will happen quite a few times. But I hate kind of going back to that, but it is what it is, because I am confused as to why that's happening. Maybe I'm simply overlooking something, and you guys will let me know in the comments for sure. But he's fun to watch. Like this champion applying bombs, watching them explode, having the poisons fill up instead on this, it's cool. But like I said, I think it's a major flaw in this boss. I mean, and when I say this boss, of course, I mean, look at that. This guy's pumping. But the fact that you can get a 3-turn duration on poisons, granted I think I'm taking the mastery. Or no, I'm pretty sure I have defense tree. I'll have to check after the run. But I don't think I have the mastery that extends the duration of the poison. So maybe that's just a visual bug or something. But the fact that I can run into a situation like this where there's 10 poisons, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like it takes away from a champion that's kind of really focused on bombs, making bombs viable, and he's a debuff hog in a sense, right? So if you're running a team that isn't Rat Eater, excuse me, and you want to bring in defense down, weaken, and attack down, and this guy, good luck. Think about adding those debuffs that are going to keep your team alive and increase the War Master and Giant Slayer damage to your team with the champion that puts this amount of debuffs. This is kind of why I was saying I wish they had a 1-turn duration maximum on his poisons like we see here. I think it would be easier to refill the poisons, as well as giving it like a 50% chance of applying a poison after a bomb detonates. One thing I'm going to briefly talk about really quickly, even though this kind of goes into like the guide video I'm going to make on this guy. Protected buffs get cleared in the new dungeon. So I was hoping that this guy was going to be huge for the Sand Devil. I used him in tons of different teams. I said the fact that this guy can place bombs with the extra turn during his sleep phase, give him a protected buff, and have it not get removed afterwards to keep dealing damage, this guy's going to destroy the Sand Devil. However, the Sand Devil's A2 ability that clears all debuffs, clears protected buffs. I thought it was a bug, then I was told quite promptly that it's not a bug. Protected debuffs will always get removed in that scenario on the Sand Devil. Do I agree with that? No. I think that would have skyrocketed this guy's value for sure. And as far as to what I was talking about, as far as the champion guide I'm going to make later on, he's a rather mediocre champion. Despite this team being pretty good for a lot of players, you have to remember, and I'm going to show you the gear I'm using. I'm using busted gear on this champion. When I say busted gear, I'm talking like the amount of attack I have on this guy is unholy. It's just unholy. So that's the damage we're getting from bombs with an amount of attack that the average player is never going to achieve. I mean, we're talking like years of getting the gear to have the amount of attack I have on this guy. I don't really remember what it is, which is why I'm going to go to it, but it's extremely high while hitting the accuracy for this, having a decent amount of crit rate as well, and being in triple cool. So this is not going to be a one key team for 99% of players. This is going to be a 2-key team as long as it's on void or anything that isn't green affinity, because it can't be weak when facing. I mean, technically it can, but do you really want to kind of fool around with weak hits? The answer is probably not. Will it still be a 2-key with the right gear for sure, and with the right RNG for sure? So that's kind of where I stand on this Bat Eater team. And with that being said, we are currently halfway through at turn 25 here. Actually, I should take it off of auto. So this team, I changed a few things. I had something wrong in the 63.9 million key. This is going to be like 72 million damage just based off of, I mean, if you know how Bat Eater works and how damage dealing champions work, the gap just gets larger and larger because it's compensating for the first 4 or 5 rounds with the champion that ramps and debuffs like this. So this is going to end up at like 70, like I said, 1 or 2 million damage with the gear I'm about to show you. Granted, it could be higher because my 2 Man-Eaters and Painkeeper as well as Seeker aren't geared in the normal gear I have them in, but they're still doing a lot of damage. So halfway through, 33 million damage turn-wise, would definitely be over 70 million. Now let's talk about the gear I have on this champion. Look at this. We have a 7,506 attack, which is scaling straight into the bombs. Now, with the amount of debuff hogging I was talking about, just have a look at this. I originally booked this guy for the main purpose of using him in Sand Devil, because like I said, he would have been busted. So he's not even fully booked. I'm 5 turn cooldown here and 4 turn cooldown here. With that being said, he's still overcapping buffs very quickly, and they're turning into poisons and filling up the bars with poisons instead of bombs, which is a DPS loss. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I think it's safe to say by not booking this guy to the cooldown level at least, is going to be the way to go, which is kind of good and bad for players. You would just keep booking it until the debuff chances are 100% on one of them, then leave it, in my opinion at least. And what's the point? If you're confused by what I'm saying right now, I don't blame you, because it's kind of hard to explain. The thing is, like I was getting to before, the main attraction for this guy is the bomb damage. Now, that may be different for you guys. If you guys are gearing him with 4,000 attack, 5,000 attack, then it's quite possibly, and I hate to say this, because the fact that it's dealing double damage, they should be significantly stronger than bombs. And the fact that with 7,506 attack, it's dealing, what was it, 112,000 on average, so it's dealing 62,000 more damage than bombs. That's really good. But the fact that it takes this gear means that for the average player, the increase over poisons is going to be much smaller. It's still going to be there for sure, but it's going to be much smaller. And the fact that 1 bomb places 2 poisons, I think they just made a very foolish trade-off with the 1 for 2 here, overfilling the bars in pretty much all content I've tested at least, and taking value away from the bombs that you're supposed to be highlighting on this champion. So it's a fun champion. He fills up the debuff bars very quickly. You don't have to fully book him to get full value out of him, because it's just the more you book, the faster you fill him up with poisons. That's pretty much how it goes. But his kit is counterintuitive. So that's the main point I'm talking about here. I guess we can look at the masteries now that I am here. Yeah, so I didn't even have Master Hexer. So why the poisons were showing up as 3 turns I'm not sure, because it clearly says 2 turns here. I'm pretty sure it's this right here, increase duration. Yeah, so it is the A2 ability. So as if to not make this any worse, if I were to book this guy, I would be losing essentially even more bomb damage to poison damage, because the cooldown of the A2 would be up more frequently. I would be extending the duration of poisons more frequently, which would be taking up the amount of debuff slots for bombs more frequently. So again, kind of clear to see where I'm coming from with something like this. Counterintuitive kit, cool idea, cool champion. I'll probably fuse this guy because he looks like, and he's been fun testing with. I'll give them that. It's been fun watching the debuff bar kind of explode in debuffs after 2 or 3 turns, but overall they could have done way better, and I would really like to see them kind of change a few things. I don't think they're going to change a fusion like this, but at least take feedback from something like this for the future, so they kind of get this champion's kit right. And I talked way too much about this champion. This was supposed to be just about the Rat Eater video, but that's going to conclude this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you're going to run this team, he's going to be a solid clan boss champion, assuming you don't hit the weak affinity for sure. As always, if you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.